Hi, this is Miss Litton, and this is a lunchtime review. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of us. We want to know where the rest of you are. I want you to know there was some major encouragement not to post this because you all didn't show. So anyway, it's okay, you went out. Here's your video. So first thing we need to talk about, let's hit the key points. You should be able to, if I put up a diagram of an endocrine system on an exam or a quiz, you should be able to identify all the different glands and then identify what hormones come out of that gland and what function they have. Okay, and you can easily, hopefully in your group shared notes, you have a unlabeled endocrine system. Then you can do a labeled endocrine system there, in order to have that to review. And the next thing we want to make sure we address is how the endocrine system works. Because you have a chemical, here comes someone else. Ooh, that looks totally yummy. You have a chemical that is secreted in one location of your body, but the target is somewhere else. How does it only impact just the target cells? Because the target cells are the only ones that have the what for it? Look at me. Targets only have the what? Receptors. Yeah. So you could have, in this example, right, we have 3 different cells, but only the target cells have the receptor that hormone can bind to, and then trigger whatever reaction goes on here. Now I'm going to ask you an application level question. Based on this diagram right here, is this hormone right here a protein hormone or a steroid hormone? And make a decision on that and then support your claim. Could you do that? Is this a protein hormone or a steroid hormone? Want to make any guesses? What kind? And the room was, yes, Tyler Lammy, my lamikins, he got it, okay? So it is a protein hormone because it binds to a what? Receptor, it doesn't go in. Remember, a steroid hormone, a lipid hormone, can go through the cell membrane all the way into the nucleus and then affect what kind of proteins are made. Whereas usually when you have a protein hormone, it triggers either a second messenger to come into the cell or triggers, as a result of enzymatic reactions, a second messenger inside the cell. Okay, it never goes in. It just stands at the door and knocks. And we looked at here, let me jump to another slide just to show that real quick, okay, what I was talking about. So water-soluble hormones like protein hormones, they bind to a receptor, and then it can start an enzymatic process that maybe generates some cyclic AMP, and the cyclic AMP would be the second messenger, or it opens up a gate and calcium comes in and that's the second messenger. Whereas lipid solubles, because this is a phospholipid bilayer right here, it can go in, bind to a receptor here, and oftentimes impacts what kind of proteins are generated. All right, so now let me go back. Then we talked about, if you take a look here, here's a typical thing. You have an endocrine cell or, gland usually, and it releases some sort of chemical that gets carried by the blood, and then it affects those target cells just like what we discussed. Okay, on the other extreme, you can have 2 neurons, and we've already started this chapter, so this should be somewhat familiar, right? What do you call where 2 neurons meet? Starts with an S. A synapse. And there, the chemical has a very tiny distance that it has to move. So that's one cell directly impacting another cell. And then this right here, okay, in this case, a neurosecretory cell, like what we would see coming out of the hypothalamus and down into the posterior pituitary or into the stalk of the pituitary gland, it secretes, it's like a nerve cell, but it's also secreting a hormone. So it's both of those that gets carried by the blood and impacts the target cell. And we compared the nervous system with the endocrine system. And in summary, we would say that the endocrine system, it takes longer, but also its effects are more long-lasting, okay, where the nervous system is a little bit more rapid there. Okay, we talked about positive and negative feedback mechanisms. And in positive feedback, you're going up, up, up. More gets you more, okay? And as you have, the example we looked at for positive feedback would be like childbirth, and as the baby's head pushes against the cervix, that sends an impulse all the way to your brain, and oh my gosh, what is it releasing? Oxytocin. Who releases oxytocin? You know. Posterior pituitary. Remember hang on the post? Remember Rogan class when I talked about that? Hang on the post, push out the baby. Okay, so oxytocin, and then oxytocin makes your uterine lining contract even more, the muscles in your uterus, pushing even harder against the cervix, more gets you more, goes back, makes you secrete even more oxytocin, and you're going till you reach that ultimate thing you're trying to do in this case, which is what? Get the baby out. By the way, what else does oxytocin do? Breast milk, what? To come out. Okay? Making the breast milk is a different hormone. What is that? Prolactin. Good, Blake. Prolactin, and it's made by what? Not the posterior pituitary, but the anterior. Remember, there's only two things hanging on to the post. Oxytocin and ADH. Right? Okay. So that was positive feedback. Negative feedback, you're trying to keep something at a set point, like your temperature of your body, 98.6. So you're either going to do heating things or cooling things that are going to keep it right at 98.6. That's negative feedback. So we had positive feedback, negative feedback, but we also talked about contrary hormones like insulin and glucagon, which are secreted by what? Who secretes insulin and glucagon? You know this. Pancreas. Good job. The pancreas secretes insulin and glucagon, which keeps your blood sugar just right. Now, what happens if you secrete too much of something? What is that called? Hypersecretion. Yeah, and too little is hyposecretion. And do you want to answer the questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I do. Welcome. Oh, let me remove these students. Okay, and earlier today in zero period we were being dead people. So if you want to be dead people again, you can. It worked for us in zero. Oh, that's a good one. What's up with Rasputin? Why are people into Rasputin? I've heard this so many times lately.
Because we're doing that in world history.
Oh, Michael Jackson.
Oh, I was going to do that one.
Mussolini. Got a little bit of history going on here.
Michael Jackson.
Okay, I'll let you come up. Everybody got the code in? So I keep going? Marina, are you okay? 9267-2816.
No.
Classlab.com.
I can remember it, yeah.
It was on my phone.
It's only one question. To warn the students, this is a time when you go down to the fridge or down to your kitchen and make a piece of toast while we're waiting for this. Okay, we ready? Almost? Okay, so peptide hormones are received by receptors on the outside, right? They are not, one of you said are received by a receptor located in the cytoplasm. That's not true. Who gets received inside? Who is able to go right through the phospholipid bilayer? Steroid hormones. They can, okay, the lipid-soluble ones. And some of you said both B and C. No. Check the person next to you. Do they get it now? that we've gone over it. Okay, and then I don't remember, I don't know, do you want to do these? This was the race car ones. You want to go over them? Skip it, okay. All right, so let's take a look at these and let's see what we can remember just on this picture. You ready? Can you do that? All right, so if this right here is the posterior pituitary and this is the anterior pituitary, could you tell me the two hormones from the post-pit? ADH. What does ADH affect? Water balance in your kidneys. Perfect. What's another hormone from the post-pit? Oxytocin. What does oxytocin do? Baby out and milk out. Perfect. Let's try to remember the hormones from the anterior pituitary. That's harder, right? Growth hormone. Excellent. And what does growth hormone target? Bones and muscles. What else? Prolactin. What does that do?
Stimulates the milk production.
Milk production. Good. Give me another one.
Thyroid.
Thyroid what? Not thyroid hormone, but thyroid stimulating hormone. Right? It's going to impact the thyroid gland. So here's our thyroid gland right here. So this will actually make thyroid hormone. And what does thyroid hormone do? Affects your metabolism. Good. All right. Give me another one. There's more than 3. ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, and that affects your adrenal gland. Where's your adrenal gland? On top of your kidneys, right here. They're drawing your kidneys, or right here, they've drawn on top of your kidneys. Now, your kidneys have 2 parts, your adrenal cortex and your adrenal medulla, right? And the adrenal corticotropic hormone, it affects your adrenal cortex. And there, it's gonna, I didn't have you learn all of them, but that's long-term stress. Okay? Whereas from the inside of the adrenal gland, your adrenal medulla, okay? Your adrenal medulla, what is that one? You're in the middle of a problem. What is that? It's short term, but what those hormones you did need to know. Yeah, epinephrine or adrenaline and norepinephrine. Okay, do you remember those? So that's in the immediate part. So that's your adrenaline or epinephrine and noradrenaline. All right, so back up here. Growth hormone, prolactin, thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone. What else is secreted by the anterior pituitary? FSH and LH. FSH and LH. And where's the target for those? Ovaries and testes. So let's go down to some testes. Okay. What do the testes secrete? Testosterone. That's your manly self, right? Your secondary sex characteristics. And in ovaries, what do the ovaries secrete? They secrete 2 hormones. Estrogen and progesterone give us our secondary sex characteristics. Okay, good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Because I didn't have you learn MSH, melanophore stimulating hormone. Okay, so we good? All right, so let's wait. We did the pituitary. We did the, we went down to the thyroid. Oh, there's another gland right up in here. I don't know why I don't have a drawing of it. Right about here. You know what gland that is? Pineal gland. Good. And what does the pineal gland secrete? Melatonin. And what does melatonin do?
The circadian rhythm.
Circadian rhythms, daily behaviors. Perfect. You haven't learned this part yet. She's all, meh. Okay, so back to the thyroid gland. We get thyroid hormone, and there's a second hormone that comes out of our thyroid. Calcitone it down now. And what does that do? Lowers blood calcium. Sitting on top of the thyroid gland is the parathyroid. Okay. Now there is a contrary hormone here, parathyroid hormone, contrary to who? Who is it contrary to? Calcitonin. So it's where calcitonin says lower blood calcium, the parathyroid hormone, it says what? To raise. Parathyroid hormone, it says to raise blood calcium. All right, let's keep working our way down. This is on top of your heart right here. What's that gland? I'm gonna give you a hint. Oh, go for it.
Actually, no, no.
Okay, it has something to do with your immune system.
The thymus?
The thymus. The thymus gland, right here. And the thymus secretes thymosin, which does what for your T cells? Matures them. All right, and then let's keep working our way down. We already did the adrenal cortex, the adrenal medulla. So let's do the pancreas. Here's your pancreas. Okay, the pancreas is cool because it's both a gland and a gland.
Oh.
Endocrine.
Endocrine and exocrine. Exocrine for digestion, secreting into ducts. And endocrine gland, what are the two hormones that come out of the pancreas?
Insulin and glucagon.
Yep, and what does insulin do? Lowers blood glucose, and glucagon raises it. Do we do them all? I think we did. Okay, all in one diagram. You walk through. So we can look at a few pictures of that and reiterate it. Here, we ought to be able to do this. Let's do it together. You can do it on your own if you want to, and then somebody can do it with me or tell me how you want to match it. Let's see how well you do. If I say ADH, what are you going to pick?
Water balance.
Water balance. I agree. Do you see it?
Yeah, I can't even on the left side, it's second up.
Okay, thank you. Okay, pick another one. Somebody pick another one.
PTH.
PTH. What does PTH stand for?
Parathyroid.
Parathyroid hormone. Okay, you got to give them a second to think. You're good. You're good. Okay, so what do I want to do for parathyroid? Okay, help them out.
Raises calcium. And
Raises calcium. Good. Who's contrary to that?
calcitonin.
Okay, so let's grab calcitonin. Did I do calcitonin?
Top right.
Thank you. And so what are we going to say for that one? Lowers. Calcitone it down now. Now, before I go any further, across the top, who secretes ADH?
Kidneys.
No, it impacts kidneys, but
Oh, freaking
anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary is who secretes ADH. Okay, I wonder if I can write Aunt Pitt. Who secretes PTH?
Posterior.
The
Parathyroid. Who secretes calcitonin? Thyroid. Okay. What's the other thyroid hormone on here? I know, thyroid hormone. Okay. And what does thyroid hormone do? Metabolism. Good. Okay, so that one is secreted also by the thyroid gland. How about insulin? Lowers blood glucose. And then glucagon, what does it do? Increases. Where's my thing? So these two are secreted by the pancreas. Good. Oxytocin. Oxytocin. What does it do? Milk and baby. Okay, and for that one, who secretes oxytocin?
Posterior.
Post-pit. Okay, adrenaline. Oh, sorry. I don't know what's writing. Adrenaline, what do I want to put there? Fight or flight. Okay, and where is adrenaline secreted from? Adrenal medulla. You cannot read that. Okay, and melatonin. Circadian rhythms. Who secretes that? Pineal gland. Okay, and that leaves us with testosterone and estrogen, I think, and this is sex characteristics. Okay, tell your bio buddy, how do you feel about that? Did you nail it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this chart reviews which glands, for your anterior and your posterior pituitary. You could easily, take a few minutes just to review that. Are there any questions you need me to go over on that one? Okay, and then there are only a couple diseases that I wanted you to know, and this was one of them, diabetes insipidus, and this is when you don't have enough ADH, so you don't reabsorb enough water. So we said you needed to insipidus some water, right? Because you pee too much of it out. And then I wanted you to know gigantism, dwarfism. There's lots of ways to be a dwarf, okay, to be a dwarf. But in this case, it's because you don't have enough growth hormone or you have too much. And then the other ones you didn't need to know for your quiz. We reviewed the thyroid and the parathyroid. We talked about negative feedback and how this is a good example of that. Because in the stalk, the hypothalamus reaches as far as the stalk of the anterior pituitary and secretes thyroid releasing hormone, which makes the anterior pituitary secrete thyroid stimulating hormone. And you can remember that because R comes before S in the alphabet. Okay, releasing and then stimulating. The stimulating hormone actually stimulates the gland, in this case the thyroid gland, to secrete what? Thyroid hormone. As the thyroid hormone levels go up, it exerts negative feedback and shuts down both the hypothalamus and the pituitary to keep it just right. It's a good one for you, but you'll learn that one too. Okay, and then we said, in order to make thyroid hormone, what do you need? Iodine, and if you don't have it, you might get yourself a little goiter.
A little one.
Just a little one. Okay, long-term stress, adrenal cortex, that's your semester. Getting ready for a quiz at the moment of the quiz is fight or flight. And that's adrenaline and noradrenaline.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Wait, can you explain fight or flight again?
Yeah, fight or flight is, you know, right before, let's say you watch a football team going on the field and they're all going, jumping around and hitting each other. They're trying to get their adrenaline going, okay, for that moment when you're getting excited before that event. Or you can just be startled or stressed out. Somebody could scare you, and so all of a sudden you run fast. A child's trapped, and all of a sudden the mom's super strong. Lifts up a car, yeah. Fuses her vertebrae together. Okay, pancreas is an exocrine gland and an endocrine gland. It secretes insulin and glucagon. And here I talked about the two types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Which one is juvenile onset?
Type 1.
Type 1. You're going to remember that because 1 is younger than 2. And that's when you have that autoimmune disease usually that doesn't allow you to make enough insulin, whereas type 2 is maturity onset and you're eating probably too many sugars or things like that and your cells stop listening to the insulin. All right. Then we talked about the testes and the ovaries. We talked, I think you're going to be good on that one, the thymus gland above your heart. And the thymus gland, remember, matures your T cells. And we talked about the pineal gland and melatonin. As you sleep, your melatonin levels go up. And what makes your melatonin levels drop? Light. Good. And then we talked about other hormones. And these are things not secreted directly from a gland set aside to be part of your endocrine system. We talked about our fat cells secreting leptin to indicate that we are full. Lep away from the table, okay? And then there are growth hormones that you get from the anterior pituitary, but there are growth factors secreted by many cells, and obviously he's abusing that. I didn't have you write notes on this one, but the kidney secretes EPO. That was on your test. And then prostaglandins usually enhance pain. That will let you know that you have a problem. And then we talked about pheromones. And pheromones are different than hormones because that's a chemical to talk to different organisms, can talk to each other using pheromones. Usually saying come hither or marking a territory. All right, and then that led to a 10-question practice quiz. Would you like to try it?
Yeah,
Remember, it has some of the mini-me questions in it, which will make it hard. You know what I mean? The ones that I said you didn't need to know, I didn't remove those.
What's the code?
9267 and then 2816. I think it's going to be my code forever. Every time it's that, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
pause here just for a minute. Okay, not everybody had a chance to go through these, but we're going to go ahead and end this. Oh, look, I'll finish it now, just to make sure you understand them. Goiter is a result of lack of iodine in the diet, and that would be thyroid hormone. Good job. Not ACTH. What is ACTH?
Adrenal cortex something.
Yes, affects the adrenal cortex. Hormones from all of the following glands can affect glucose in the body. Good. Thymus, that you picked that. Because the thymus is all about doing what? Maturing T cells. All the rest have to do with it. You don't need to know that one. Oxytocin is from the post-pit. You all got that. You all got that one. Formation of milk is prolactin, and that comes from the anterior pituitary. The release of milk is the post-pit, and that's oxytocin. The release, yeah, okay, and that one's there. Epinephrine is from the adrenal medulla. Peptide hormones are received by a receptor, same as before. Chief difference between endocrine and local is the distance at which they act. Okay, good job. Super proud of you. Have a piece of toast. Don't get your blood sugar levels too high. Be smart.
Don't get your norepinephrine going.
Yes, get your adrenaline going for this quiz.